Check, check. What is up? Ooh, I think that sounds good. We are live. Day late. A few sats short. That's okay. So, today I am going through StackerNews top dev stories for the past week. Normally I do this on Monday. I've done it like 6 weeks in a row now, something like that. I missed yesterday. I had a super busy day. Maybe I'll talk about it later because I was kind of launching something. But yeah, here we are on Tuesday, ready to get into it. So, StackerNews, if you do not know what StackerNews is, this is StackerNews. This is literally the homepage right here. So StackerNews is like Reddit. It's like old school Reddit, but it uses Bitcoin micropayments for upvotes, for comments, for posts. And so it's basically like Reddit, but better because you get paid in Bitcoin. So that is StackerNews, and I have the devs territory here in StackerNews. It's basically a subreddit that I founded. And every week I go through the top dev stories. So that's what we're gonna do here. Again, there's a lot of stories that fly through every week. I don't have time to read them all, look at them all throughout the busy week. So it's good to just come in one single go and get through all of the most interesting stories, and then I do it on stream here as well. I'll turn that down a little bit. Sweet. So not a ton of stories today, but I have a bonus post that I want to read through later that Koob wrote up about atomic split lightning payments. That should be cool. And then later on, I'm going to get in some live streaming, working on a KeySend app for a workshop I'm putting together, hopefully for this weekend. Cool. So, I mean, we can basically get into it. Might give it a minute. No rush. There's not a ton of stories this week. Yeah, so if you don't know, I run what's called Plebdevs. You can find it at plebdevs.com. It's just an app developer community, basically, for new coders, new developers, people wanting to learn how to code. And we focus on building Bitcoin, Lightning, and Nostr apps. So we've got the two main courses here, Lightning Wallet front-end and back-end, that will kind of walk you through a full stack curriculum focused on building a Lightning Wallet. We've got our community here on Discord, which is awesome, that you can join, come ask me questions, come share your projects, stuff like that. And then, of course, we've got workshops and lots of content here on our YouTube. I think this goes to the workshop-specific playlist, yeah. But if you can go to youtube.com/@plebdevs, and we have a ton of content here. Different stuff for the devs. Okay, enough shilling. Let's get into it. Let's start from the top. Zoom in a bit. All right, first contribution to open source. This is from Jose. This is legendary Jose from Plebdevs. I've been watching this guy grind for years, building cool stuff, and he's been contributing to a lot of projects, it seems like lately. I feel like I'm seeing something new every week from him, along with like his kind of main Bitcoin block app that he builds. I think you can find it. Oh yeah, he's got this awesome resume. I think projects are in here. Time Chain Cube. Yeah, I love this thing. I need to get this on my iPhone because you can get it, I believe, as like a widget. But yeah, so Jose is talking about his first contribution to open source. Coding/dev has been a slow and long journey for me, with the goal of becoming a dev full-time. A small accomplishment in my journey was my first contribution to open source, which was to LNbits. I love what LNbits offers, and I took it upon myself to add the Voltage logo to their instances so people can know they can run LNbits with Voltage. I was always hesitant to keep contributing due to not feeling competent, but my pull request was merged and it gave me a huge boost in confidence. Keep hacking and keep stacking. Nice. Good post here. And yeah, smart on him to start with something simple, right? Adding a logo into one of their instances, just making the UI a little bit cleaner for something like connecting Ln bits to voltage. So that's really cool. Shout out to voltage. But yeah, I mean, it's good to start with something simple. One of my big problems, there was actually a period of time when I was maybe 2-3 years into my dev journey, was feeling like somewhat competent with my skills, you know, starting to throw stuff together, definitely. And I was like, okay, I want to go contribute to an open source project finally, something in Bitcoin. And it took me basically 4 or 5 months or something to get my first contribution in. And it was an emotional strain because I was just trying project after project after project. But the problem was I was trying to bite off more than I could chew. I was trying to build out these big features. They were ambitious, which is, it's nice. It's nice I wanted to be ambitious, but I should have started simple because the overall process of contributing to an open source project, it was still very new for me. So I was pushing outside of that, you know, discomfort zone into the panic zone, really, and kind of overwhelming myself. And then I ended up just feeling terrible and feeling like an idiot. But I actually ended up getting my first contribution in after a few months to Albi with quite a bit of help. So shout out to them. But yeah, it's definitely a point on your journey, like when you first contribute to like a real project that people are using. It's a good feeling, and it's good to know that you can dive into an existing project and for one, run it locally, and for two, add a feature or add something to it that works. Okay, Stacktoshi says, Ln Bits has a lot of low-hanging fruit. That was almost a year ago. Nice job on timechaincube.com. Contributing to open source is a great way to ensure this movement keeps its momentum. I just started doing the same while under this NIM. Okay, nice. Stacktoshi. That's a good NIM. Hell yeah, getting some contributions in. Zap.stream, Nostr watch. Sweet. Let's go, Stacktoshi. Keep it up. And you're right. I mean, who's gonna build the tools? Who's gonna maintain the software? Who's gonna deliver the protocol to the end user? Who's gonna deliver Bitcoin Lightning to the end user? Right? These are, I mean, who else but us? Who else but the devs, the Plebdevs, the 10x devs? So yeah, definitely keep it up. Reach out to me if I can ever help on your journey. Link to the PR. Someone else posted this and hunted it down. Nice. I now view open source coding as a new movement against the centralization. So any work of worth is like diamonds. Keep contributing. Best of luck for your future. From Coins Reporter. Nice. Seems like some slightly broken English here, but a great statement. It is a movement against centralization, and any work is like diamonds. That's awesome. Keep up the great work. Let's go. I'll give you all some zaps. Some hella zaps for Stacktoshi. I'll give you some more here. Great first post from Jose. Congrats, keep it up. All right. Get into our next story here. I'll zoom this in a little bit. Zoom in the screen. Ooh, let me fix my camera too. Okay, sorry about that. All right, LLMs. Are LLMs taking our jobs as devs? Halleck is gonna help us answer this question. I have thoughts on this. I'll save them for the end. Here's some zaps, Halleck. Halleck is, I think, week 3 in a row here of posting a custom, interesting post here. So thanks for doing that. All right, devs, LLMs are not about to take your jobs from Halleck. Okay, we got some screenshots here. How many R's is there in the word strawberry? There are 2 R's in the word strawberry. That is not correct. Where are they? The R's in the word strawberry are located in the 5th and 8th position. Strawberry. The 5th and the 8th position. Slightly wrong, okay. This is an easy example though. People throw in these examples. You can trick the LLMs with stuff like this, but this does make you wonder about certain other things. Okay, the work that we do as developers typically includes a need for precision. The LLM's lack of intelligence can be well hidden in an essay it may write, which contains some facts, some claims, and plenty of filler language. Okay, actually jumping back to this first sentence, the work that we do as developers typically includes a need for precision. This is very true. Being detail-oriented is important. I remember when I was in my coding boot camp, I was doing practice interviews with like my team lead, like practice developer interviews, and he was asking me the classic question, like, what are your weaknesses? Tell me what your weaknesses are. And I don't remember everything I said, but I was like, yeah, I'm not super detail oriented. And he was like, stop, hold on, Austin. He's like, don't ever say in a programming interview that you're not detail oriented. That's a terrible idea. And I was like, oh, okay, my bad. But it is true. It is true. You need to be completely and totally detail oriented for a lot of tasks, for important tasks. And those details are not just dotting I's and crossing T's. They're important details that can make or break everything. Okay. Which contains some facts, some claims, and plenty of filler language. Okay. However, when boiled down to a logic problem delivered with human language, the statistical model that an LLM is quickly breaks down. We're not looking for an answer. We're looking for the answer. Yeah, this is something that's important that LLMs are really bad at. If you happen to deliver your prompt the right way, you can stumble upon correctness. I think I see more R's than you do. I apologize, the errors in my previous response, blah, blah, blah. R's are in the 3rd, 8th, and 9th position. That's correct. But if you prompt it a different way, it'll be confidently wrong. There are actually 3 R's in strawberry. Can you find them? I apologize for any confusion earlier. The word strawberry contains only 2 R's. You idiot. Located in the 3rd and 8th position. Here's the breakdown. Completely wrong. This is like Chad GPT right here. He's like, 2 + 2 = 5. You're wrong. Here's the proof that proves me wrong, and then I'm gonna therefore state that you are wrong. Baller. Okay, so is this intelligence? Can it gather user requirements better than you? No, there is not thought behind this. It depends on you to stop asking questions when you get the right answer. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna say a few things and then we'll dive into the comments. Looks like there's quite a few comments here. So some of this stuff, there's low-hanging fruit as far as examples that you can pull from to make your LLM look dumb, to make any LLM look dumb. It's really easy to do. And a lot of these problems of it missing a detail or hallucinating something, you can, if you know how to prompt and you're familiar with using LLMs, you can deal with this. You can figure this out. I mean, I use LLMs all the time for very complicated coding problems. And I know what I want it to consider an output, and I know what I want to use from its output. And at the same time, I know what not to trust. And I know what to be skeptical about, what to read over 3 or 4 times etc. And I know how to prompt it. You know, I might have ChatGPT generate some code, but I might give it a second prompt on every generation to say, what's wrong with this? You know, improve this, sharpen it, polish it, make it cleaner, etc. And so, and the tool is still there, and it will follow it will attempt to follow your chain of logic, and will continue to give you mid output, very mid-tier output, but output that nonetheless might save you a ton of time and might be useful and put something right at your fingertips that was not before. And I still think that that's a powerful experience as a programmer, and it continues to speed up my process of developing. And I don't feel that I have, if I'm in a coding session and I'm doing it all on my own, or I'm using an LLM a lot, I don't notice that there's more or less errors that I run into, or serious bugs or things that I'm overlooking. It's about the same, but I'm literally speeding up my process of iteration with using an LLM. So yeah. But nonetheless, like I agree, and it's the new users of these LLMs that are more likely to fall into really bad habits with how they use this. Okay, I'm gonna take a drink and we'll dive into these comments here. A lot of these challenges can be overcome by teaching the LLM to use a separate tool. For example, the LLM doesn't need to know how to play chess, but just needs to know how to use a chess engine. It doesn't need to know how to calculate. It just needs to know how to write a Python script using NumPy, SciPy. Machu Pikachu, that's a good name. I already like this comment. It seems like he's on the same thought trajectory that I'm on. If you take your example and have the LLM respond with Python code that counts the letters and returns the position, it is more likely to get it correct. At some point, the OpenAI team will figure out how to get it to do this behind the scenes. You can actually ask it to analyze a CSV file, and it automatically writes Python code to do it. So this is already close to reality. Yeah, this is true, and this is like the perfect kind of example that's just a great time saver for using something like ChatGPT. Is like, here's a CSV, I need to grab all the properties that, you know, do this, or I need to parse it in this kind of way, write me a Python script to do it. It's amazing at doing that. You can dump in all of that context, whether it be spreadsheets or markdown files or whatever. Images. Eventually, we'll see these systems translate prompts into logic arguments and then use tools like COQ. I don't know what that is. Oh, he has references here. Look at this. Tools like COQ to make provably true statements. They can start leaning on compilers and language servers to error correct as they write code. Along the way, they can write tests to check their work. The bar these LLMs have to clear is just to produce no more bugs than the average software engineer, and that's honestly a fairly low bar. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and he's kind of, it's a similar argument to what I was making, but he's definitely doubling down of like, it's not even necessarily that you need an increase in intelligence in these kinds of examples, is that you need more middleware to pull from, basically more, you know, processes. Like he mentions language servers. He mentions being able to execute code on the side, to use COQ for logic statements. Let's see what COQ is. I don't know what this is. The COQ proof assistant, handling proofs and programs. COQ implements a program specification and mathematical higher level language called Jalina that is based on expressive formal language called the calculus of inductive constructions. Wow. That itself both combines a higher order logic and richly typed functional programming language through a vernacular language of commands. That's really interesting. What does it look like? Let's ask ChatGPT. Give me an overview of COQ language and some examples. Formal language to write mathematical definitions, executable algorithms, and theorems, together with an environment for semi-interactive development of machine-checked proofs. Interesting. Type theory, proof assistant. COQ can be used to write formal specifications and to develop proofs that these specifications are met. Okay, basic examples. Defining natural numbers. COQ allows you to define data types inductively. I don't know what that means. Here's the definition of natural numbers. Inductive nat is a type. 0 nat s nat. I don't know what this is saying. Addition of natural numbers. You can define functions on these types. Here's a definition of addition. This looks like a super functional programming language. Okay, anyway, that looks, I don't know, to me this looks horrible. I would not want to write this, but that's cool, that's interesting. I didn't know there was a language like this. Okay, thank you, Machu Pikachu. No Count says, the example OP used is like saying, look, this sports car can't go upstairs, therefore walking is a superior form of transport. LLMs are not meant to count instances of a character in a string. We have better tools for that. Yeah, that's fair. It's a fair critique. And Null Count says in his own comment, that's why it's called artificial intelligence. It's just predicting the statistical likelihood of the next token based on the corpus of human language and writing. Wow, what a great description of just how LLMs work at all. Jackie Nelson says, hi, what is up? I'm doing good. How are you doing? We're reading through the top dev stories for the week. Reading about how LLMs are really dumb and they're not going to take your jobs, apparently. Great sentence here. Let's read it again. It's just predicting the statistical likelihood of the next token based on the corpus of human language and writing, which is a pretty good tool. If you gave me that like elevator pitch for would you want this tool, I would be like, hell yeah. Autocorrect isn't an author, therefore LLMs aren't developers. But thanks to spell check and autocorrect, human authors don't need to hire as many human editors and proofreaders. Likewise, project managers may not need to hire as many devs to write software that meets their requirements. That's fair. I am a developer as well. Can you hire me for some work? Let's collab and build a team. That's a nice pitch. I cannot hire you for work. I just got a job and my bank account is literally empty. But definitely am always collaborating with the Plebdevs. You can check out plebdevs.com and join our Discord community. And yeah, definitely got a lot of projects going on. And I want to start doing more almost projects from within the Plebdevs community that maybe one of us can start and a few of us can build on together, something open source. But yeah, sadly, I'm nowhere close to any kind of money. All right, Halleck. Halleck is responding to this comment here. Would you therefore argue that spell check ultimately took away editing jobs? No, okay. In a sense, yes, but also spell check and word processing in general made it easier than ever to become an author, which may have increased demand for human editors. That's interesting. 4D chess point. Likewise with LLMs, it's never been easier to be a project manager. So the demand for human devs may still increase even if the number of devs per project decreases. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you can find the server at plebdevs.com. Plebdevs.com, and it's right here. That'd probably be the easiest way. I think this is like a permanent link. It's a good comment from Null Count. Halleck says back, I'm skeptical that LLMs make it easier to be a project manager, but I suppose time will tell. Someone who programmed in raw assembly in 1980s would probably say a Python dev in 2010 is basically writing English and is not a true programmer. Now imagine that Python dev is looking ahead 30 years at someone chatting with an LLM to produce code. Maybe it's the PMs that are going to lose their jobs. Maybe the devs of tomorrow look a lot more like the PMs of today. It's very interesting. Yeah, and this is one of my big thoughts on LLMs in general, or at least LLMs and the topic of replacing devs. It's very possible it can happen. I mean, as what's his name, Machu Picchu was saying, like, you add in all this middleware, you add in all of these other resources and tools into the base tool that the LLM is, and you do that, and like, how far can you get with that? How good of a developer, how good of a programmer could you get by following that string right there? And so it's possible you could get to the point to where you've got AI agents that are as good as junior developers or something like that. I don't think we're anywhere close to that right now, but you know, it's possible it could happen within the next 5 years for sure. And in that world, what does a developer look like? A developer becomes more of a manager, because a lot of the code generation or a lot of the low level details are being generated. And then what are you doing as the developer? You're doing a lot of code reviewing, you're doing a lot of project management, you're probably writing and refactoring a lot of code. But yeah, I think that is very much the future that a lot of devs are going to be going into. But I don't think it's that bad. Like, that's almost like going up a level. Instead of the guy that's, you know, you're the guy that's polishing Caesar's or Pharaoh's big toe forever, just like really, really down in the details, stuck in the details. You get to be a little more high level. You get to move faster and really architect something bigger a lot quicker. And that's what I feel right now. Like, I'm working best with an LLM when I do feel like I'm a project manager, when I'm thinking about the high level architecture, and I'm working with LLM. It's helping me lay out this architecture of my app, and then maybe I have to dive into like a detail for some kind of encryption thing or something like that. That's an important detail. But like, that's the best flow state that you can be in with an LLM, and that very much seems like the future of where we're going with LLMs and humans. That's a good point there. Which model is this? 3.5, 4, or 4.0? Okay, I finally found it. This is the 4.0 model. I just asked 4.0, then swapped to 3.5, then back to 4.0. 2 R's. 2 R's. Okay. It's kind of dumb that it considers itself as two different models. It would be like you having a conversation with me, then someone swaps my brain in and out. And I would apologize for that other brain making a mistake. Okay, I see. So he's like posting this to the other 4.0 model and saying, why did you get this wrong? That's funny. Okay, a few other big comments here. I still cannot understand the hype in the developer community. I tried GitHub's Copilot 6 months ago and several plugins with integrations to ChatGPT 3.5 and 4 a few months ago. And for me, the experience has been very bad. At most, it's better autocomplete, but not so much better. The only time I've seen it saving time for me was when I was trying to write if this element is not in the data structure, then add it, which anyways would have taken 20 seconds to write. But looking at some people telling how AI is making me 10x more productive, or not using it is like typing with just one hand, I just cannot understand it. Yeah, that's the FOMO. Those are the people trying to get you to FOMO about AI, and this is a lot of my frustration with it too. It's like, it's just total shitcoin FOMO, like, sentiment behind all of it. Last week, I asked one of these 10x faster people what IDE and specific model he was using to try and see if I'm doing something wrong. And he replied to me, okay, if it doesn't work for your specific workflow, then too bad. So no, I don't think our jobs are going to get taken by AIs anytime soon. Okay, I think a lot of these more advanced, maybe this is me in the way that I've worked, but a lot of these more advanced tools and integrations, I don't like them. Like I do use Copilot, and it's actually mainly for this reason of like what you're saying here, like parsing data structure, filtering an element out of a data structure, doing like complicated inline conditions that I could write, but it would take me like 2 or 3 minutes to like go look at the docs and remember how to do my dot filter method or something like that. So Copilot is good for that stuff, but it's amazingly good at generating a lot of boilerplate code. My favorite example of that is like API code or something. Like if I go to like, what's something with an API recently that I did? If I go into Plebdevs here, source, pages, API, yeah, sure, drafts. Yeah, so something like this, like something, I write endpoints like these all the time. Like this is kind of a first iteration endpoint. You know, I've got a get, I've got a get, I've got a put, I've got a delete here. And this is at like a slug endpoint. And, you know, we've got our try catch, we are hitting a DB method and we're expecting something back and we check if it's back. And what's great about this is like I write one handler in one like API file. And then when I go in to write all the other handlers, it's just generating for me and it's 99% correct, right? So this is something that's like saving me a ton of time, but that's basically autocomplete. It's not smart for doing that necessarily. But anyway, that's what I use Copilot for. But besides that, I just like the raw LLM experience. And just really curating my prompt, really curating what context I'm giving it. And I'm just comfortable with that workflow with like, especially with some of the work I've done in the past in my career with AI. I just felt like I kind of got an intuition on how it parses and understands information. And you realize how much power you have as the prompter to craft what kind of output you want. But realizing that you're dealing with, you know, something that doesn't know how many R's are in strawberry at the same time. But good comment from BTC Remnant. Manakisi. I'm a dev. What I tell other devs is that AI and LLMs / machine learning aren't going to take our jobs. However, those that don't use these tools will be left in the dust and will make themselves obsolete. Yeah, that's fair. I guess a little bit like my point I was saying earlier of, or really what Noel Count was saying earlier of devs becoming more like PMs eventually. So yeah, somewhat agree. You should use the tools, at least be somewhat familiar with them, but don't feel the FOMO wave. The problem was produced by the client, you. Prompt engineering is not that simple as others would expect, and using ChatGPT doesn't work anyway to use it for coding. What? It's no problem to create full stack apps with one iterative process. Perfect prompt using GPT-4 Omni. Okay, so that's the new GPT-4o model. But this requires hardcore coding skills plus excellent prompt engineering, and expect some billion tokens to be communicated. 1 million input was $5, 1 million output, $15. It takes some hours to go through the whole process. And if you've done well, you will end up with a working full stack app plus test suite and every best practices and even documentation. Otherwise, you will spend days reviewing code which has tons of bugs or doesn't work at all, finally ending up dumping the whole repo. In that case, OpenAI will not refund you for the API usage. That's really interesting. Wait, what is that? Yep. Reply. What process are you using through the ChatGPT API to generate full stack app? Yeah, like I wonder how, I mean, I've used the ChatGPT API, but I've never done something that's literally like a $5 input. I imagine they're our instructions and some code examples. But how does this get up to 1 mil tokens? How many instructions do you have to add? Okay, last comment, Oliver Weiss. It's intelligence of its own. Important is that there's a learning curve of these languages is enormously steep. In a year or two, we will be laughing at this. Yeah, probably. Like all of this stuff, it's really easy to see how it won't age well. But at the same time, I think that the FOMO, the AI FOMO wave won't age very well either. What is up, Melissa? Welcome. Thank you. Okay, sweet. So great story from Halleck. Go back to my default view here. I got a bunch of comments now. So yeah, we are still in the process of reading the top dev stories. We're gonna have a bonus story after that, atomic split payments, and then we're gonna get into some live coding. Cool. Next one, how to collapse your stack using PostgreSQL for everything. This is Brandon's Bytes. Thanks for sharing, and he's linking an article. Let's see how long this article is. It's not that big. Let's check it out. Let's see if it's interesting. Is that all you need? Yes. He's got Postgres. This guy has a million stacks of everything. Okay. The idea of using PostgreSQL for everything isn't new, but it's steadily gaining attention, especially as Postgres keeps increasing in popularity. I have been using Postgres a lot lately, especially I love the setup of like Postgres with, I think I did this with Bitcoin Link. Yeah, because I have a DB. Postgres with Docker and Docker Compose. This is amazing. I've been doing a lot of projects very similar to this, just having a DB service and then an app service. And I actually don't have Postgres locally at all. You know, I only run it through Docker, which yeah, Docker takes up a lot of space, but I already have to use Docker for other stuff, like working on StackerNews. So I really love this setup. It's awesome. I should do like a short video on this kind of setup. Whoa. As someone who spent most of their career deploying all sorts of databases, here's what it means to me and how you can apply it into your world. How technical sprawl creeps in. Imagine you're starting on a new project or feature. Early on, your team lists out technical problems you need to tackle. Some solutions you'll develop in-house, and others you'll address with existing technologies, probably including at least one database. Unless you're in the business of building databases, it's usually unwise to develop your own. It's complex, risky, and requires a very specialized skill set. So you might end up adopting various existing databases, Postgres for transactional data, Elastic for full text search, Influx for time series, Pinecone for vector operations, and maybe ClickHouse for analytics. ClickHouse, I've never heard of that. Suddenly your tech stack is sprawling. Why stack sprawl is a problem? I know why this is a problem. It's a pain in the ass. It takes a long time to set up. It's not fun to maintain. So we'll skip that section. The case for collapsing your stack. So what's the alternative? In my mind, it's collapsing your stack. If you solve more problems with one database, you're removing multiple complex pieces of software and the dotted line complexity between them. It's much easier to keep a mental model of your data flow in your head, as well as reason about the consistency of data at different times. All that is fair. You get time back, which would have been spent on operating these new databases, and you can spend that time building features. Okay. PostgreSQL excels at stack collapsing because it's simultaneously general purpose and specialized. As well as being an amazing relational database, it supports a wide range of extra use cases through its advanced extension framework. I didn't know that Postgres had an extension framework. It's kind of crazy. PostgreSQL can easily handle workloads like full text search, time series data, and vectors for AI. PG Vector. What is this? PostgreSQL extensions. These are all the extensions. Okay, that's not a ton, but text caller. Yeah, I think it mentions that. Prefix postpic. Postpic. So you can store blobs as well. Okay. Postgres isn't just versatile, it's also robust and mature. People have been running Postgres in production for over 20 years. And with adoption speeding up, Postgres shows no signs of slowing down. Edge cases are well known, deployment patterns, recovery strategies, and high availability are well defined. And there are many companies and champions who can help you along the way. Counterpoint, the best tool for the job. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely imagine, like, I know that StackerNews uses Elasticsearch for search. You know, maybe Keon would want to collapse this into Postgres, because you can apparently, but there's something nice about, yeah, using a tool that's made for the job for doing this one thing that you might want to do. I've used Elasticsearch at like work before. I've never spun up a new instance myself, but I would do it in a second if I needed really advanced search features across a lot of data and the indexing that comes with that. Okay, a final word. Postgres for everything isn't about never using other databases. Honestly, it's not even about using Postgres for everything. It's a maxim against over-engineering your solutions prematurely. And an advocate for the benefits of simplicity. Yeah, I agree with that. I always like to keep things simple at first, but, you know, it's hard. It's a balancing act for sure. So thanks for posting that, Brandon's Bites. He says below, part of me agrees and another doesn't. Same. If you know the problems you'll start hitting when scaling, not using the right tool to begin with is asking for pain you don't need. But making things complex when you aren't scaling massively is also asking for pain you don't need. So I think the answer is to write everything yourself, reinvent every wheel. I hard disagree with that, but I like your logic. I like your thinking, your gusto. OFJEO says, I must admit, first time I learn about time scale, TLDR, effectively a PostgreSQL in the cloud service. This blog of theirs is a good read. Thanks. Might give him a try. Yeah, I've never used timescale. I'm not interested. I like my setup. I'm not going to over-engineer my setup. All right, thank you, Brandon's Bites. What do we got here? The Wild Hustle, posting episode 1, Build with Pair, developing with Pair. This is from the Pair YouTube. Let's check it out. That was loud. Developing with Pair.
And welcome to
Wow, that was quite an intro.
My name is Dave, and I'm super excited to tell you about what we've been building at Hole Punch.
Strong start. Okay, so we actually, Plebdevs, Damien from Plebdevs, he's been looking into Pair quite a bit and building with it. He's saying it's a lot to parse through, but the docs seem really good, like Pair protocol docs. Pair by Hole Punch. Pair runtime. Yeah, so these are their docs. I mean, there's a lot here. They have guides, building blocks. They just have all of these like containers, like Hypercore, Hyper-B, Hyperdrive, Autobase, Hyper-DHT. That sounds fire. Hyperswarm. Those are good names. But yeah, cool to see them starting to do some content like this to get people like me that need a little more guidance start building on Pair.
Get set up and installed. Run of that, the Pair CLI will pull itself in from peers. So I'm just going to run this now. PA is built on Pair, and it is
installation and first run, building a simple application.
Doing make dir my app. This should work in Windows, Linux, and Mac. And then I'm going to do cd my app to get into that folder. The folder is currently empty, but we can rapidly bootstrap our project by using pair init -y. -y just means yes to all the defaults. So once that's done, there's some output that says what's happened, and we can actually take a look in an editor to see what's been put on in that folder. So we've got an app.js file that has just a click listener. We have an index.html file that shows you that has a script tag that loads the app.js file. And then we have a package.json that has a main field pointing to index.html. So if we run this app with pair dev, Pair will then load the new MyApp application that we've created from the file system and display it. As you can see, it says MyApp. We can click that, it becomes a Pair. In the next episode, we're going to be building out peer-to-peer functionality inside of the application. So ahead of time, just to see how it works. So I'm doing npm install hypercore. Hypercore is one of the Pair building blocks, a really essential building block that we use everywhere for persistence of peer-to-peer state. Once that's installed, we can go into app.js and we can import the module that we've just installed. Import hypercore from hypercore. And I'm going to just log that out, console log hypercore. Now, if we run pair dev again after making that change, we can see that the DevTools window that opens with the application in development mode has, under the console tab, it has this output from each other, from other peers. With peers and have other peers run our application like from each other, from other peers. And we're going to look at that in the next episode. Let's get to it then.
It's interesting. So I don't understand how their peer-to-peer architecture works exactly, but it's kind of like he was saying at the end, and what Damien showed me is like you can just build an app and you can have someone run it remotely through like some proxy server, or it's not going to be a proxy server. It's like a direct connection between you and a peer, and you can run apps on each other's machines and pass messages, stuff like that. A lot of primitives there. Pair. Whoa, new website. Oh my gosh. New website. It scrolls to the side. Wow, that's strong. Okay, with pair runtime, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Come on, that's marketing speak. So pair runtime introduces revolutionary framework, liberating developers from traditional infrastructure constraints and P2P application development. Whoa. Ah, shit. I keep on trying to scroll to the left and to the right. You're supposed to go up and down. Okay. I need the documentation here. This is just too much marketing speak. Okay. Pair loads applications remotely from peers and allows anyone to create and share applications with peers. Wow, that's a much better description. That's what they should have Is that not the tagline to their website? What does it say? This is marketing speak. I don't want to see that as a dev. But this looks really nice. This does look nice. It's a very good design. I love their design aesthetic and like the icon and everything. Okay, anyway, that is cool to see. Thanks for sharing, Wild Hustle. And yeah, I'm excited to see more. I'll need to dive into this and maybe even do my own video giving Pair a try. And we'll probably do some tutorial or workshop on it at some point. It takes time. I got to get familiar with it first. The future is now, motherfuckers. All right, thank you, Wild Hustle. And he posts again right here. We got Plebdevs 13. Hey, I was here. So this our guy Captain Stacks was reading through a lot of the top Nostr stuff from the last month. So yeah, it was pretty cool. We talked about a lot of apps this time. Captain Stacks is showing off some of his apps as well that he was working on. I think this is one of them. No, that's a Yakihone. But yeah, he has like a Nostr graveyard app. Meet me on Nostr. We looked at like the spreadsheet app. Brainstorm. This one was interesting. So a lot of cool stories that came out this Nostr devs. Yeah, I still think that Austin, we're the only ones that have a Nostr, like an official Nostr devs meetup that continues on. It is extremely small though. It is literally so small. It almost couldn't be smaller. Bitcoin Abi says, I'm learning Nostr, so for me, it matters more, I think. Thank you for sharing. I like the video. Well, there you go. All right. Thanks for sharing, Wild Hustle. Check it out, Nostr devs. I'm not going to read this because this is from an impersonator who's continuing to post and pay into our rewards pool. We've had some impersonators and some spammers a lot lately, and I've been slowly raising the price of devs. Let's see what we're at right now. So as a founder of a territory, which is basically the kind of subreddit here on StackerNews, we have certain options. Yeah, so post cost is 50 sats. The lowest you can do, can I edit? I can show you what it looks like to edit. It's very simple right now. I guess there is no bottom. I guess there is no minimum, but excuse me. I think I had it at 1 before, maybe 5 sats, but I've just slowly been raising it up to 50, and a lot of the impersonators and spammers aren't posting anymore. This guy is still here, but posting a lot less. So yeah, it's good to see. It's looking a lot better this week, so once there's no more spam, and I'll probably lower the costs again. Plebdevs tutorial, JavaScript DOM. I just recorded this video yesterday or something like that. And so this is continuing in our beginner tutorial playlist, which you can find right here. Does this link work? Yeah. Oh, I have to add it to the playlist. I have to add. I'm going to do that right now. Yeah, because this is the 3rd video in the playlist. So let me just click here and say this belongs in beginner tutorials. Save that. Changes saved. Okay, cool. There it is. Sweet. Yeah, so beginner tutorial series, there's just 3 videos in this right now. We start with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and this newest one was going a little bit deeper on JavaScript. But yeah, this is a way, we have some other tutorials that are just like random things to go over, but I wanted to start like a synchronous step-by-step simple tutorial that's free. I mean, obviously we have the courses here at plebdevs.com, and these courses go in a lot more depth, but I want to do another 0 to hero full stack course, you know, 0 coding experience to full stack dev. I want to do another course like that soon. And so in some ways, these videos are me starting to build the tiny units of lessons that might exist in that future course. but I'm just going to keep going in order, building out these short tutorials. They're all, you know, like 20 minutes max. And yeah, just offering it up for free because I want to make everything free if I can. But yeah, so check that out if you're interested in learning JavaScript, and just check out the whole tutorial playlist if you're interested in learning how to code it all and just want an excuse to get started. Okay, it's Jose again. He says, woohoo, my PR for PWA configuration on Boardwalk cache got merged. I actually saw this. Shout out to Jose, more contributions. Let's check it out. Implemented PWA for Boardwalk cache using Next PWA. Added favicons, manifest file, updated app.tsx with meta, updated next config. Wow, that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit of changes. Ooh, I love these icons. It's very cool. More open source contributions. If you don't know, Boardwalk Cache is this is actually a wallet that I helped work on the early part of it. Me and Damien from Plebdevs, and it's a eCash Lightning wallet that's pegged in USD. So it's really cool. It's gone way further than I realized it was, since I was working on it, because I wasn't doing any of the USD peg stuff. But yeah, it's really starting to be built out to the fullest. So we might do a video on this soon. And I think for sure Damien is going to be doing some eCash videos showing you how to work with, probably with Cashew specifically. So that's cool. Shout out to Jose. All right, that is all of the top dev stories for the week.